What's up, cats? Today I'll be talking about my favorite kind of arrangements to write. The one where the ensemble has to have multiple weeks of rehearsal time for it to work. One that you'll almost never be asked to write, but so do anyways because you feel like you've written the same chart 5 times in a row now and just need to do something different. Where the question is no longer how can I present this song in an easily digestible format while sounding like myself, but instead, what aspects of the original song can I take, then twist as much as possible? Essentially, we'll be talking about. The first step is to reduce a song down to its most basic elements. If a song uses a certain interval, melodic phrase, or rhythm a lot, there's one element you can make a major part of your chart. For example, Chick Corea's tune Tones for Jones Bones uses this fifth twice at the beginning, then uses this motif of a large leap throughout the rest of the song. So when writing my arrangement, I wrote out 50 different variations on this motif of the opening fifth, augmenting the rhythm, diminishing the rhythm, putting notes in between, moving the fifths through different keys, and basically any variation I could think of to hit the necessary 50 for my assignment. But I think out of these 50, I maybe used like 6 or 5. This is fine though. You're not writing all 50 with the idea that they'll all be included in the chart. You're just writing down as many variations as you can think of, exhausting every single possibility, because the more variations you create, the more chances you have of striking gold. In my arrangement, the ones that survived the pruning phenomenon were the fifth in the melody but augmented, inverting the fifth, moving the fifth around different keys, putting notes before and after the fifth, using the fifth as a pedal point for an interlude, and this final chord. Once you've pulled out a core idea, and made as many variations on it as possible, then it's time for you to plan out your arrangement. This is because the main focus of these charts is the arc you create using the various methods of development. So you want to lay out which development methods go where to best support the arc of the chart. For tones, the first thing I did was get rid of the standard intro. It's not a bad intro, but I felt starting with that didn't really fit the vibe I wanted to create, and I also wanted to turn this section into a mambo swing. Starting with this, then going to this, not only would have not fit the arc of the chart, but honestly would have just not made sense at all, unless it was submitting for the worst big band chart competition. So I decided to take this section and put it somewhere else. You shouldn't do it just for the sake of doing it, but if it sounds good, why not move what's usually the intro of the song until after the solo section? It's your arrangement, so you get to pick the form. Along with changing the order, you can just add new sections. While most commonly heard before a solo section, there's nothing saying you can't add interludes in other sections as well. Interludes are one of the best ways to develop your current ideas, along with creating contrast with previous sections. My professor at UM had this really good example that used a clip from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I can't play the clip due to copyright reasons, but after they finish exploring the first major area, they then get on a boat, which takes them on a very long and scary ride to the second area. During this ride, which is about 2 minutes long, you see every single character's reaction to these events, developing their characters by showing how they would act under a state of duress. Some say they're going to be sick, some offer Wonka money to stop the boat, and some just genuinely don't care. The screenwriters could have just chosen not to include the scene and have the boat just go straight to the destination. But by doing this, the characters wouldn't be as developed. So while you can go straight from the A section to the B section, it'll be more interesting if you do this. Just make sure that it's relevant to the chart. The last thing you want to do is add filler. I like to think of these interludes as an overarching tension, which resolves with the return to the form. The longer you can extend the interlude while not overstaying its welcome, the better the release will be when you finally get there. To quote Bob Brookmeyer, wait, that's not it. You can do basically anything you want over the cadence point. So if the next part of the form is the cadence point, you can do basically whatever you want to get there. But how do you create these interludes? Here's how I created one of the interludes on Tones. So the main motif of the melody is this ascending fifth. Also, the beginning of the form is a D pedal. So after the final statement of the melody, saxophones play a rhythmic pedal. Also, notice how this doesn't start on bar 1 of the next phrase, but starts before the next phrase, obscuring the bar line. So bass is doing a pedal, saxophones are doing a pedal, but I wanted the third layer as well. So after 6 measures of setting up this pedal, I also had the band play the melody again, but with significantly more space between everything, allowing the drummer to solo in between the extended melody. This entire interlude is an augmentation and deharmonization of the form in this section, stretching the form out to 16 bars from the original 8, and getting rid of all the chord changes except for the original pedal. I also used another short interlude later to go from the trombone solo to the trombone solo, but there was a lot less thought put into that one. It's just a solo break, and a few bars with solos and drums, which honestly I use way too often. You can also use interludes to adjust the length of a solo. I found that the ideal solo length in a big band chart tends to be around 1.5 minutes, but a lot of the time, what will happen is one chorus will be too short, and 2 choruses will be too long. So to remedy this, you can create an interlude that's somewhere around a half chorus, and then the problem no longer exists. You can also draw inspiration from sources outside of the original song as well. While not as applicable to standards, if you're arranging a song from somewhere else, this can be a good way to have more ideas to work with. For example, in my arrangement of Mario Bros., a large part of the chart is a brass solo while the saxophones play the sound when you get the coin repeatedly, working as a pedal. I actually used most of the sounds from the original game in this arrangement, such as the 1-up sound, the mushroom sound, and the flag sound. By using motifs outside of the song, it creates a meta element that's really hard to replicate with other songs. Like if you were writing an arrangement of If I Were a Bell, and for part of it you decided to quote another song from Guys and Dolls, chances are almost nobody would get it. But if the person listening recognizes the Mario theme, they'll also probably recognize. Overall, the best thing you can do for writing one of these charts is to go slow and consider every possibility. The more time you spend coming up with possible ways to develop the chart, the more chances you'll have to come up with one that really stands out. It's like rolling a gacha. Most of the ideas won't get you anywhere, but if you keep rolling bad ideas, eventually they should give you a good one for free. Wait, that's not how it works, right? It doesn't have a pity system.